Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Colonel Ross Boyd. We warmly welcome the family of Captain Peter James McCarthy, whose story will be told shortly. We are honoured to acknowledge members and partners of the Royal Military College of Duntroon, class of 1978 reunion group, as well as the members and partners of the Royal Military College of Duntroon, class of 1958. We also welcome the members of the Royal Military College Gallipoli Company, Officer Cadet School Shayville, and other members of the Australian Defence Force. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony all across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. I invite you all now to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this National Memorial Museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Captain Peter James McCarthy of the Royal Australian Corps of Transport. Peter McCarthy grew up in the small town of Queensland in New South Wales. He was the eldest son of Pat and Mick McCarthy and elder brother of Bernard and Margot. Mick had served in the Second World War and survived being a prisoner of war in Changi. Great hardship as a forced labourer on the Thai-Burma Railway and more forced labour in a coal mine in Japan. Peter entered the Royal Military College Duntroon in 1975, where he acquired the nickname of Bags because he was so skinny his ill-fitting uniform made him look like a bag of potatoes. Peter completed a Bachelor of Arts degree and played volleyball and soccer for the college. In his final year, he won the Stoker Cup as the RMC golf champion. After graduating from Duntroon, he served with the Royal Australian Corps of Transport. His first posting was to Townsville, and there he met his wife, Sue. After 2 years in the tropics, he was posted to number 44 Transport Squadron in Devonport, Tasmania, as the training officer, and then back to Townsville in 1983. His daughter, Sarah, was born in Townsville before he was appointed to command a company at the Officer Cadet School in Portsea for the final year of the course there. He then moved to Duntroon in 1986 as an instructor. In late 1986, after volunteering for duty with the United Nations, he became one of 13 Australians serving in the Middle East with UNTSO, the United Nations Treaty Supervision Organisation. Australia has contributed personnel to UNTSO since 1956, making it our longest peacekeeping commitment. Peter was detached with four other Australians to the Observation Group Lebanon, which monitors the often dangerous military zone in South Lebanon. Sue and Sarah travelled with him and settled in Nahariya in northern Israel. McCarthy spent the first 6 months on the observer panel, watching the border demarcation line and reporting violations. At the end of this period, Peter turned down the opportunity to serve in a quieter part of UNTSO, volunteering instead to join a mobile observer team liaising between the United Nations and the warring parties in the area. On the 12th of January 1988, McCarthy was on a routine patrol with Canadian colleague Major Gilbert Cote. During the morning, they drove their jeep to a high point near the village of Chama in South Lebanon, several kilometres from the UN headquarters. This frequently used observation point provided excellent views north to the city of Tyre, south to the Israeli border, and west over the waters of the Mediterranean. McCarthy and Cote had already had an eventful patrol. Their jeep had been run off the road by an armoured personnel carrier while coming around a blind turn. The men in the APC helped pull their vehicle upright and they continued to the observation point. While descending the hill, their jeep struck an anti-tank landmine, probably intended for Israeli or South Lebanese army vehicles that occasionally used the track. McCarthy was killed instantly. Cote was thrown from the vehicle and seriously wounded. Major Cote later said, "It was a crying shame. He was a young up-and-comer in the officer corps, a bloody good soldier." Captain McCarthy was accorded a military funeral in Queensland on the 19th of January 1988. Inscribed on his memorial are the words, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." Later that year, he was posthumously awarded the RSL's Anzac Peace Prize, jointly sharing the award with the Australian Defence Force. Later that year, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the United Nations peacekeepers. Honouring the many like Captain McCarthy, who served the cause of peace. Captain Peter McCarthy was 31 years old when he was killed and had only 2 more months to serve before returning to Australia for promotion and a posting to Sydney. He was a popular and professional soldier who had shown dedication and enthusiasm for his chosen career. He has been sadly missed in the last 30 years by his family, friends and mates from the Royal Military College class of 78, many of whom are here today. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, along with 69 servicemen and women who have lost their lives on operational service. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is one of the many stories of courage and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Captain Peter McCarthy, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.